the church today, huh? Well, it just gets better and better and better because we are truly blessed to have with us the Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman today. Just a little intro. Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman has been active in the science of mind philosophy and New Thought for almost 4 decades. She has a deep spiritual consciousness of love and service. That is the truth. And has served in a variety of capacities in New Thought spiritual communities in Northern and Southern California. Reverend Sunshine Michelle recently founded Authenticity Journal of Renewal, a new focus ministry of Centers for Spiritual Living dedicated to the realization of authentic self-expression. Over the years, she has designed and delivered self-empowerment workshops and facilitated sister circles for women. She is a seasoned human resources professional and is currently the Director of Human Resources at the California Institute of Integral Studies for almost 9 years, where she is also a second-year doctoral student in transformative studies. Reverend Sunshine Michelle has one son who is a college senior at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, with whom she is co-authoring a book that will be published next year entitled Mother and Son, Embracing Art, Affirmations, and Authenticity. Please show a warm CSA welcome to Reverend Sunshine Nicole Coleman.
Happy Sunday. Good morning. Let's try it again. Good morning and happy Sunday. Good morning. Right. I'm one of those that likes call and response, and they knew who to put in front of me to help get you going, right? Well, first giving honor to God and Almighty High. All right. And to Dr. Georgia, who invited me, and to your board of trustees and your ecclesiastical staff and the music ministry, which is so awesome. Can I say that? Awesome. To you, to Lanny, to everybody here at CSA, thank you for having me. I bring you greetings from Authenticity Journey of Renewal, as Reverend Brenda just said. And we are freshly anointed. We had our launch and installation in June. And this handmade just for me stove was blessed up one side and down the other and touched by so many at that installation. So I'm wearing it in honor of that, so it blesses me and it blesses you. Yes? Yes. Okay, so let's start before we get into the topic. I heard a call, and you'll learn from me that I listen. I hear it and I know when Spirit speaks. Just the other day unexpectedly that said, this is how you need to start the service. So I have a blessing for you. Are you ready? Yes. Do you receive your blessing? Are you ready? Yes. Okay, there you go. If I can have you to embrace yourself like this. Close your eyes if you are willing. We're going to take a community breath by first exhaling right where you are. Exhale. Breathe in deeply, gently, easily, and hold it at the top. And let it out with a sigh. And prepare yourself for these words that my Grammy-O whispered in my ear the other night while I was sleeping. We've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. She's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far by faith. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far by faith. And now let's breathe in together. Exhale right where you are. Breathe in deep, gently, easily, hold it at the top, and let it out with a sigh. And so it is. Thank you. today is climbing the stairway of heaven. Any of you out there heard the OJ's croon that song back in the day, Stairway to Heaven? If you haven't, you can go to YouTube it. It's there. 1976. Gamble and Huff, I don't know what their intention was in writing that song, but in the OJs, you know, the way they were balladeers and crooners, so they probably had a different interpretation of climbing the stairway to heaven than I might have today. But anyway, that's what Spirit gave me, and so that's what we're here to talk about, climbing the stairway to heaven. Let's start first with a few definitions. These are my definitions. Roll with me, if you will. Heaven. Heaven. Well, in the traditional church, heaven was a place that we ascended to once we left this physical plane. Heaven for us in New Thought and metaphysics in the science of mind philosophy is a state of higher consciousness. We live heaven every day, and or we can live hell every day. Right here, it's a matter of choice. It just depends on where you have your focus. So we're talking about today climbing the stairway to a higher consciousness, to heaven. You with me?
Yes.
Okay, so the next definition, there's only three, that's one. The next one is the stairway. So what is the stairway? The stairway is our experience. It's just plain and simple, it's our experience. What are we experiencing on the stairway when we take the next step? What are we experiencing? Again, it's by choice. Sometimes we may not have a choice of if we live in poverty or not, but how we choose to receive it is a choice. So that's what we're talking about. By the way, I have my Grandma-Yo's hanky with me. I'm a teary one, but I always carry one with me. She's in my heart. This is her jewelry I have on. She sang in my ear, so Grandma-Yo is live and in the house. The third definition is climbing. So what is climbing? It's ascension. It's going up. It's going higher. It's going deeper. But that's relative, because we could go backwards and we still are going upward. You feel me? It's all relative. So those are our three definitions that we're dealing with today. Climbing the stairway to heaven. So when I was putting together this talk, the next thing that popped into my mind was Jack and the Beanstalk. The children's fable that, how many of you know that story? Maybe we're not totally familiar with it, and I had to Google it and look it up to make sure I had it right. But here's a little bit about Jack and the Beanstalk that's relevant to us and relative to us and how we think and live in our lives. So there was little Jack and his mother. They lived together. They were poor. They were starving. His mother sent Jack off with their only cow that no longer produced milk into the village to sell it so that they could have something to eat. Jack sent off about his way. Along the way, get this, met a strange man that sold him some magic beans. Now, couldn't this be like one of our ministers or practitioners or someone who is a sage or is guiding you to and asking you to trust them about the magic and the miracle of God? But anyway, let me not digress. Let me continue. So he buys the magic beans, goes back home, and his mother is furious because he didn't do what she said. He didn't bring back any money. He brought back magic beans, and you don't even know if they're magic. So she gets mad and throws them out the window. How often do we discard some of the things that may be our miracles that are right there because we're not trusting or we're not listening? Okay, so Jack goes to sleep, goes to bed, wakes up the next day, poof, voila, there's this big beanstalk going up into the clouds. We're ascending on the stairway to heaven, remember? So the higher consciousness. So he wants to set out up the beanstalk. His mother says no, wants to cut it down. He convinces her not to. Am I getting the story okay so far? So then she puts down the axe. He ascends up the beanstalk. He goes into the clouds. He can't even see the top of the beanstalk. And when he gets up there, he sees this giant castle. Stairway to heaven, ascending in consciousness, seeing that all things are possible in God. sees that big castle. Okay, he goes up to the castle. It's so huge in comparison to him. He's able to roll underneath the crack in the doorway, big, huge doorway. He gets into the doorway, sees a giant. It says a dangerous giant. A dangerous giant. How many times are we afraid of the things that we are aspiring to? Oh, we don't want to touch that because can we? So he does, right? He sees the giant's eating and counting his gold coins. Then the giant falls asleep. Oh, how many times sometimes there's a falling asleep mechanism. Or we sleep at the wheel of our good. Giant falls asleep. Jack takes his opportunity, sneaks up there. Now, I don't know. This is a fable, though, right? So little bitty Jack, big giant gold coins. How many coins can Jack really take, if any at all? But he tries. He takes some gold coins, sneaks down, goes back down the beanstalk, descending to on the earthly plane. Aren't we spiritual beings living a human experience? We straddle the two, but it's all God, as Reverend Brenda said. Okay, he gets back down, shows his mother. She's so excited. Oh my goodness, now they have food. They're associating their good with money. Isn't our good more than money? Right, okay, you get that. There's a little limitation in there, but she's happy, and she's really happy because vindicated, because the giant stole some of their money in the past, so she's probably saying, right, go get him, giant. Now it's okay that Jack went up the beanstalk, right? All right. So then eventually their money runs out. So Jack wants to go back up the beanstalk. He ascends back into the higher level of consciousness. You see how there's two levels of consciousness? Where are we at any given time? Living, lower consciousness, higher consciousness. He ascends back, same repeat. He sees the big castle, goes, slips under the door. Now the giant's eating at the table and adoring the hen that lays golden eggs. Jack waits until the giant falls asleep, goes up there. I'm not sure how little Jack gets this big hen, but anyway, takes the hen and steals it back down the beanstalk, higher, lower level of consciousness. Now they have ongoing prosperity because the hen keeps laying eggs. All right, well now curiosity, there's a little saying, curiosity kills the cat. Well, curiosity got to Jack. So curiosity wanted him to go back up there. They've got what they need, but he wants more. Could that be considered a little greed? I don't know. He goes back up, sees the giant again, repeat story. But this time the giant is at the table listening to the beautiful music of the harp, the magic harp. So Jack, when the giant falls asleep, goes to steal the music harp. The music harp is saying, oh no, 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 singing its beautiful music that wakes up the giant. Oh no, a chase ensues. The giant, boom, 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 chases Jack down the beanstalk. How many times have we had our fears to chase us? And we're trying to get away. So Jack gets down to the bottom of the beanstalk, takes his axe and whacks it down. The beanstalk comes tumbling down, wham! Giant gone forevermore. Jack and his mother live happily ever after. Now, isn't that a story for us in climbing the stairway to heaven? When are we using our spiritual principles and practices to stay grounded right where we are? As we go in between and toggle between higher levels of consciousness and lower levels of consciousness, are we praying? Are we using our practitioner? Are we reading scripture? Are we calling somebody when we get stuck? Then my mind played a trick on me. I was thinking, Stairway to Heaven, that could be like a moving escalator. We've all been in an escalator in the mall or someplace, right? What if the escalator ascended up into the clouds and we're on the escalator going up? But sometimes when we're living life in our experience as we're climbing the stairway to heaven, have you ever felt like you're moving in place? You're just not going anywhere. It's going up, but you're just moving this way. Sometimes it may feel like you're going this way. Oh, isn't that kind of hard when it's going up and you're going back? What do? That's the whole point of this. That's the whole point. Yes, I'm preaching to the choir because we all should know we're here in a church sanctuary on a Sunday trying to get our spirituality on and remind us. And This is the exact group that we need, not just you, it's me, we need to be reminded. Because aren't we the ones that sometimes that can do a bypass? Oh, everything is just great and just fine, when inside we're stewing and we're neutralizing the power of the prayer that we just spoke. Because we may not really be believing it, and guess what? We may not even know that we don't believe it inside. Because we're not taking the time to listen to the negative voices that are in our heads telling us what we can and can't do. Oh, okay. So let me give you 2 examples. Reverend Brenda talked about my son in my bio. My son Freddie is a senior, and he's starting his last year at the Art Institute of Chicago. Excuse me. He's 21. You know, everybody that's 21 knows everything. Can't tell him anything. He's a sweet young man. And I'm being real with you. I'm telling you what's in my heart. Every day my heart hurts and is heavy because I have a 21-year-old African-American queer male in the world. Let me just pause, a deep pause on that one. You know what's happening in the world, don't you? You know what's happening to African-American men in the world, let alone African-American people. And he's in Chicago. Beautiful city, beautiful town, but there's a lot that's going on there. And I didn't know until I went into a deep process that my heart was so heavy. I was preventing myself from even knowing how I really felt because I wanted to be able to function. I don't want to stand in fear. That goes against my principles. So it's good to allow yourself to hear how you're feeling. Just because you're afraid doesn't mean you can't admit that you're afraid and you don't know. We're in a philosophy where you get to say these things. Say it to someone that can hold it, not to someone that's going to perpetuate your fear. Because we are spiritual beings living a human experience, so we're going to have the fear. We're just going to have it, period. And boy, don't we have a lot to have it about. There's so much violence and the politics that's going on and this, you could just name things all day long that we could be depressed about. But we are choosing not to be depressed, right? Right. We're choosing to pray our way through this. Yeah. And the way we can do that is to face our fears and to do it anyway. So that's what we're doing when we're climbing the ladder and the stairway to heaven. My dear sister friend, this is the other example, and then I'm preparing to close. My dear sister friend is retiring from United Airlines this month after almost 44 years of primarily international flying. She's known about this for a year, but they only give you 30 days before they give you notice. So she's had to prepare herself as soon as she put in her notice. She was happy to put in her notice and was surprised that she was scared to death, literally. We worked through it. We talked through it every day. And I said, when we got down to 5, I said, high 5, we got 5 more to go. You know, now we on to 4. She just completed 3. We're down to 2. Guess what? She's so excited. Now she has to make herself be patient enough that it's not over yet. But that's the thing. We have to do what we need to do in order to make it to whatever it is we're trying to excel to. Or else we won't. Or else we won't. And you know what? Even the master teachers. Jesus was climbing the stairway to heaven. You may feel like he was there in heaven all the time, but guess what? He had poverty. He had people that were chasing him. He had people that were persecuting him and didn't like him. He was scared. He admitted he was scared until the very last. Same for Buddha. Same for any of the other enlightened teachers. To help us see that we are no different than they are. We are all in the one, and we can all do this together. Michael Beckwith says, sometimes we got to break down in order to break through. So let us be in authentic selves, to break down, to show what we are and where we are and how we are, to have the courage and the vulnerability and the strength to rise above. So let me close with this quote that you probably have heard, but I love it so much that I'm going to read it anyway. Some of you may not have heard it before. Just take this in. Even if you've heard it, let this be new for yourself. It's from Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love. Our deepest fear is that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Do you hear me? You are a child of God, and so am I. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel secure around you. Let me say that again. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel secure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Namaste. Let us come together in that vortex of love, in that space, in that place of the infinite and the divine, where the light is always shining. The candle is always lit. It can never be snuffed. That is that place, that dwelling place within us, and that is everywhere all around. For God is all there is. There is nothing else, regardless of appearances. And God is the divine perfection of life. And therefore, because we are it, and that it thought enough of itself to create us as its expression, then we are that too. We are perfect in every space, nook, and cranny of our consciousness, of our being, every fiber of our being. We are perfect in the midst of what we may think is imperfection. And through this power, through this truth and through this knowing, I speak this word of truth this morning, right here in the Center for Spiritual Awareness in West Sacramento, blessing everyone here, blessing this entire congregation and all that it is doing in this community, blessing Authenticity Journey of Renewal as we kick it off and start it up, blessing all spiritual centers everywhere who are praying and lifting the word of truth so that we heal through any violence, any pain, any anguish, any discomfort, any frustration, anything that is unlike the true nature of God. We are fully eradicating right now. It is fully present in us as love, as peace, as harmony, as joy, as forgiveness, as clarity, as divine guidance, as any and everything that we need that is its greater and higher consciousness. So I speak this word of truth for all the prayers and the prayer requests that are on our hearts this morning, that are in the prayer box this morning. I give thanks that it is already done in God. I give thanks knowing that God is bad like that. God is so bad that it is good in the miracles that it produces as its ordinary, extraordinary activity of operation. So I breathe into that as we all breathe into this knowingness. Surrender it all. Just breathe into it. Whatever your prayer is, breathe into this vortex that I know and proclaim is made manifest right now. So all I can do in an attitude of gratitude and supreme appreciation is to release my hands off of it and send it back into the divine activity that sent it to me in the first place through my voice. I send it back knowing fully and completely that it is already acted upon by the combustion of love and law, which produces and manifests our greatest desires and our most bountiful gifts and blessings and showers it upon us right here and forevermore. For this, I know it is already done, and I invite you to know the same by declaring with me, Ashe, Amen, Amen. And so it is. And so it is.